Hi, Sam here from Barnhanger Studios, and today I'm going to give a quick tutorial on the console. So this is a really good video to watch if you've booked a session with us and you've not booked for an engineer in your room. So if you just booked the studio for yourself. So I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to use the outboard gear and how to use the compression EQ that comes with each channel, and how to get just a very basic signal running through the desk. So to start with, I'm going to get the other camera and just show you the patch bay and the inputs. So this is the view from the chair. You see we've got the Mac there, we've got two strips of external hardware, a few DAW controllers and plug-in controllers, and then of course we've got the main console here. So as you can see, we've got a bass plugged in, and that's plugged into our Art MPA preamp, and we're plugged into channel 2. So if I show you down here, we'll see that we've got the MPA2 output. We just patched that into channel 1, input 1, which means you'll have lines and levels coming on the desk. So first of all, I'm just going to get some basic lines and levels on the desk and the compressor and EQ for the bass. So right now we have channel 1, which is here, and then we have that selected, and that means that channel 1, the graphic EQ you can see up there, and the input gain and all those things, that's what's being applied to the bass right now. But we don't need any gain because obviously we're running it through a external preamp. So if I take you back to the main camera and I'll record some bass. So as you can see, we've got a bass plugged in. So if I just do give some levels, make it louder. See all these line levels. I'm just obviously putting the bass through the monitor so you can hear it. If you just make out the needle obviously moving, so that's that preamp patch nicely down there. So if we wish to use any of the compression, we have our channel 1 selected and we press compression, and then you see we have our standard compressor loaded up. If you want to engage it, we press the on button. And if we want to mess around with the threshold, we move this. Even more. As you see this red line coming down, that means that that's the compression basically. So you can adjust how many dB of compression that you have. There's also a few different compressors you can choose from. There's a little list here. I quite like the tube compressor, which gives you just a VU meter on there as well. Also, we got some simulation compressors of certain things, some SSL simulated compressors and some Neve simulated compressors. Very nice. The Neve one is the British one. On threshold, and EQ is exactly the same. So you press EQ and it brings up a graphic EQ, which is very helpful. You can attenuate like this, or you can choose some simulated ones, like this one. I think that looks to me like a Neve style EQ, and that may be like a Pultec. And that one's very similar to the external one we have in terms of which buttons you can use. So that's the very basic way of doing it. If we just open Logic and get some recording done. So very basically, open Logic. I'm just going to do a new project, no templates. This is how you'd get to record the desk. It's incredibly simple. The iMac is already defaulted to pick up the Studio Live 24 for the USB, so you don't have to do any configuring. So literally, we'll mute the track because obviously we get feedback issue because we've got playing the monitors in the room. Mute the track, you select your inputs down here, and as you can see, all 64 inputs of the SSL there, obviously 24 physical inputs. And then input 1, record, and very simply, you already see we've got signal. If I just load up a EQ, just a mono EQ, and we'll make it, you know, so you can see it. If I'm playing here, but if I want to boost at 100, I can move a few knobs around. So we play one note. Hear the change. One note. Very simple. So you can see the effect that the EQ has. Now, those EQs and compressors are available on every single channel of recording, very helpfully, but we do have a few externals. So you could use this on 2 channels. So if you're doing a drum kit, kick and snare, obviously you can use vocal. The DIs are going to go through the preamp just for the best sound. But I'll show you quickly on the other camera exactly how we do our patching in. You see from the patch earlier, I've got a few cables in my hand now, and we've gone from the MPA, which is that one there, what the bass is plugged into. The MPA is plugged into input 1, which is there. But in order to put a EQ and compressor in front of it, we need to patch in. So if we do a signal chain, so the bass is coming here, so if we take this out, we need to act like this is our bass now. So this is effectively our bass lead. And we're going to take a path from our preamp. We're going to go to the inputs here, and we're going to go into the EQ. So I'll show you there, into the EQ, which is the EQP1, into there. And then we're going to take another trip from the output of the EQP1, and then we're going to go into the compressor, which is the VLA1, which is the compressor down there. And then we will go from this, from the compressor, the output of the compressor, to finally our final trip into input 1. So now we're going at the top here, we're going into this EQ, into this compressor, into this desk after going in for the preamp first. So now let's run some levels on that. Okay, we've got those basic levels, so let's do some playing. As you can see, we've still got what you might have also noticed is we can see signal coming through this compressor now as well. Obviously everything right now is bypassed, but if we unbypass it, a very quick test, let's do some gain. Yeah, that's louder. Okay, let's do something interesting. Obviously, it's been very difficult for you to hear on the video what a compressor is doing. Because you can just hear it in the room. Now let's flick this EQ up. Obviously it's very difficult because I've got an instrument in my hand. But play. Keep an eye on the signal. So we're at 100 Hertz again, and let's just boost the load. You can see it's made our compressor react more because we've got more of an input going on. Obviously you're not going to want that much, let's attenuate between the two. some more. Okay, let's run a take. So we're running all these things through. Remember to keep it muted, the session, because obviously if we're playing through headphones, you can unmute it. But we're actually monitoring through the desk, not through Logic. So that would create feedback. If you want to hear it. Maybe not that much feedback, but it could do. Okay, let's just do just a quick record. And here's a quick look at our wavelengths that we've got. And very important to take note, obviously we're only running a little bit of compression, so ones like this can slip by. But if we slam the compressor, which is not a sound that I would commit to, if I wanted to have that sound, I'd probably do that in the DAW. But if we just slam down the compressor, we'll see what kind of sound we get. And a quick sharp one. Okay. So the reason the quick sharp one got through is because of our attack rate. But the rest, you see, is getting very uniform. But if we run a fast attack and a slow release, we'll see a wavelength that's, you know, absolutely slammed with the compressor. And if we listen back to it, it's very heavily compressed, obviously. And so yeah, that's it from a standpoint of how to very quickly get some levels going. Obviously this is a DI, but the exact same thing applies to microphones, because obviously the XLR patch bay, which we plug our microphones into, is in the live room, but they'll come down on the channel strip the same way. And when you patch them in, you patch them in the same way as well. You just make sure you run a lead, instead of from to the preamp, you'd run it from the XLR patch bay. Yeah, thank you for watching. It's been a very quick tutorial.